I think let me join other Nigerians and professionals and colleagues in the sector generally to appreciate Mr. President for us creating the Ministry of Livestock Development is one of the boldest steps the President has actually taken because if you look at the sector and you look at what we have there today, you agree with me that with all the statistics, it was actually looking southward, and it's something that we could actually take northward when we get the genetic resources correctly. So what has happened over the years is that we've been keeping the same type of animal, and there has been a lot of genetic depletion and genetic erosion. So coupled with the climate change that we have of recent, and actually the inting globally, is actually having effects on the productivity of our animals, like it's having effect on the environment. There's what we call epigenetics. That is the interaction between genetics and environment. And that is something that we've not been paying attention to. So we don't expect an animal that is actually living in a suboptimal environment where the husbandry is not good to actually give you productivity. The fact remains that it's only an happy animal that can be productive. And that's the only things that we need to quickly achieve. So let me talk a bit about the gene pool of what we have as a country. So before now, or let me say globally, as at 2020, we have about over 3,000 breeds of animal across the world. As at 2023 now, 2024, we have over 7,000. So meaning that that has doubled. And when you look at the contribution of Africa to this particular population on the global scale, is usually 10%. And 10% of what has happened then, we could actually, as at 2020, in 2024, we do not even have up to that 10% contribution to the global statistics. So now coming to Nigeria, you could see that instead of us actually increasing in the number of breeds that we have, we're actually having extinction. And I can tell you that for over 100 years, over 30% of Nigerian breeds have gone into extinction, and some are still going. And one very clear example I can quickly give is what you see around the Lake Chad region, where we have displacement of over 30,000 livelihood because of the shrinking of that Lake Chad. It's not only human beings that are being shrinked, in terms of population, it includes the animal that they are keeping too. And that has led us largely to lose the breed that is very popular in the cow, the Kuri breed, with the biggest horn that we have in Nigeria. Some are actually going on extinction. They are already on the endangered list now. And we continue to say we want to drive an animal. We actually want to walk an animal that are already endangered to give us the productivity. That will not work. So in the interim, I think part of what we are looking at is to actually go back to the basics. So for every crop, for example, that you grow, there must be a seed. So the seed in the livestock sector is the genetic resources. So when the seed is not of quality, it cannot give you what you want. It's like somebody, anybody now feeding a dwarf to actually give you a giant. So you could actually feed the whole thing. It might be hitting all your food, and you're actually wasting your resources because the fundamental is that he is a dwarf. So what technology allows us to see and know today is that at the inception, when the gametes are being crossed together to actually bring out the offspring, we could know if this particular offspring is going to be a dwarf or is going to be a giant. So as of today, we have all those technology. So Nigerians need to actually ramp up this technology to catch up here. So when you look at the US, you're going to be hearing about Frisian breed, Holstein Frisian that we're talking about. Many of them actually undergo nothing less than 100 years of domestication before they get the best out of them. But today, with genomics, with omics technology generally, we could actually achieve that in 5 to 10 years. And this is where we need to actually kickstart what we need to do in terms of transformation and reformation of the genetic resources. When we get that one fixed, then we could actually be feeding for purpose, we can be breeding for purpose, and the people that actually want to take each of the value chain, we could expand it to say, I want to be doing a cow-calf production, for example. Some people in advanced countries, all what they do is to actually get the animal pregnant, and they get the calf. At a certain age, they actually trade in only calf. So it's like what you have in the poultry sector, where you can actually trade day-old chicks. So you could trade on calf. It's not everybody that must be saying, I'm doing multi-purpose animals. So the genetic resources is going to guide us into expanding the value chain and bringing new innovation. This is where the youth and the women inclusivity can be driven. This is where the value of the 33 trillion size of our sector can actually be unleashed, because when you broken up this and you bring in innovation, youth are encouraged to do a lot of things. And you could actually see a new lab, and using biotechnology, you could ramp up productivity over the years. And I think that is the way to go.